Here we go with day number 4 of the 30 teams in 30 days NBA edition. Let's see who we get in this wheel. I forgot to remove the Celtics, so that's a little annoying. But here we go. In case you missed it, last video we had the Celtics. 2 videos ago, on day 2, we had, sorry, I'm not focused. This is a team I want to talk about, the 76ers. As I was saying, though, I've made 3 videos already. The first one was day 1 was the Cavs. Day 2 was the Timberwolves. Day 3 was the Celtics. All 3 of those videos were very interesting teams to talk about. So I'd recommend go checking that out on my channel. Let's get into the 76ers team. The Sixers have no doubt been one of the most disappointing teams this season. And I'd argue that they probably are the most disappointing team this season. Uh, they're sitting 11th in the Eastern Conference, even though the Eastern Conference is a much weaker conference than the West is. They're sitting behind the Chicago Bulls, who literally just traded away Zach LaVine. They're sitting behind the Hawks, who have been ripped apart with injuries. They're sitting behind the Heat, who have had this Jimmy Butler pain saga, I guess, if you will, been going on for so long. Just for him to be gone, they're behind them. Now, a lot of people are going to argue that this team has also been absolutely smoked by injury, which is true. And I'm going to give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt to say that they have had a lot of injuries. Joel Embiid has been out for a majority of the year. Paul George has been injured multiple times. Tyrese Maxey, I think, had a small stint of injury, if I remember correctly. Jared McCain, who was their like rising star as Joel Embiid was out, is out for the year. So it sucks. The Sixers have definitely been ripped apart by injuries, and it's affected them a lot compared to a lot of other teams. So there is that factor of injury. Injury is definitely something that has hurt them this season, but I don't think that that's the biggest issue right now for them. Joel Embiid doesn't play. Ever since his MVP season, he does not play. He never plays. He's always injured. That is a problem. They signed Paul George to this gigantic contract. He does not play, and he is going downhill when he does play. Jared McCain, okay, I'm not going to talk much about him until later, but their bright spots right now are Tyrese Maxey. Tyrese Maxey plays usually. He plays well. He's an all-star. He's got all the things that you need in a player that needs to be the side running mate to Joel Embiid. But the problem is you don't have Joel Embiid to play with him. And so I have been someone who thinks that a Joel Embiid trade is something that might need to happen. I'm not saying it 100% needs to happen. No brainer. This is a choice that they just need to get rid of him. He's 30 or whatever. They need to trade him. No, that's not my point. My point is that they are not going to win with Joel Embiid and only Joel Embiid. They're not going to win with a team full of players who are injured a lot. Jared McCain, like, he's a rookie and he already is out for the year. And I'm not saying that that's like unnormal. Like, that happens to a lot of players. So that's not something that I'm too concerned about. But if you're going to have Joel Embiid sitting out 40 or 50 games a year, you can't have that, because then all of a sudden you're getting completely screwed over when you sit at the 6th seed and have to go play Boston in the second round. That's not good. That's not what you want to do if you're a 76ers fan. And so coming up on the trade deadline, there's a lot of people who said they didn't need to do much because they're so injury uh, 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 I don't even know the word I'm looking for whenever I say that. They're an injured team. So a lot of people coming up on the trade deadline were like, they don't need to do too much. They just need their guys back, which to an extent is true. And I think if you do have a fully healthy Sixers team, they're going to be okay. But the games where they've played together all season haven't been good. I love StatMuse so much. They're able to give me literally whatever the heck I want. uh, any sort of stat that I want. But look at this. The Sixers have a record of 8-9 with Joel Embiid this season. 8-9. They have lost more games than they have won with their MVP caliber player. And let's look at the games. I haven't even looked at this yet. They lost to the Knicks. They lost to the Magic. They lost to the Heat. They lost to the Grizzlies. Those are 4 pretty dang good teams. Um, You could argue with some of them, but they lost to the Pacers. They lost to the Warriors. They lost to the 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 Pistons, the Bucks, and the Raptors. Raptors, that's not good. Who did they beat? They beat the Mavs. Okay, they beat the Mavs. Great. I don't know if Luka was. I don't think Luka was playing that game. So okay, they beat the Nets. They beat the Blazers. They beat the Jazz, and obviously that should be some. That should be confident for them. But they beat the Bulls. They beat the Hornets. They beat the Spurs. Like the Spurs are a 12 seed. Yeah, they have Wemby, but like, dude, like that's not good. That should like Joel Embiid does not uh, impact winning basketball at the level that he should be for a player that they believe is a MVP caliber, who is their future, who is their now, who is everything to them, and yet he doesn't affect winning basketball truly. So I guess you're seeing a trend. My question is, what do the Sixers need to do? Because this season isn't going as planned. They're not a contender. They're not healthy. They don't have anything. Do they run it back next season with the same guys, hoping that everyone stays healthy? Or do they try to find either a Joel Embiid trade and reset completely and try to build around Maxi and Jared McCain? Or, I guess, in that scenario of completely resetting, would they try to add a better piece that isn't Paul George around Joel Embiid? So my personal opinion is that the Sixers need to. This is tough. Actually, this is tough. I think that I have been on the train of the Sixers need to get rid of Joel Embiid, not because they want to necessarily, and they don't want to, but because it just is not working. The trust the process needs to come to an end because Joel Embiid is injured all the time. He doesn't affect winning basketball games like some other top tier talent. Whoa. And because they could get some real value and have a perfect team around Tyrese Maxey. I believe Tyrese Maxey could be the number one guy. I really do. I think Tyrese Maxey is that good. I think he has that much potential. And I'd probably argue that they'd probably be better off with building around Tyrese Maxey and making their team a deep team, kind of similar to what the Celtics have. Like they obviously have top tier talent, but with the right fit, they could easily make Tyrese Maxey their guy and could easily become really good for the next 8, 10 years. But I also think it's important to remember that I don't think the Sixers can necessarily go wrong. And the reason I say that is because, yeah, maybe one decision is better than the other in the long run. Well, some decisions might be better for now. Some decision it obviously will depend. But I don't think management can necessarily go wrong because I think regardless of what they choose, I think they can get their fan base to buy in um, on that. It's different than the Luca trade, right? Like the Luca trade was so out of nowhere. I think if Joel Embiid were to be traded, I think fans would be angry, but I think they could probably buy in on the fact that they get a ton of picks and they get very good role players back, no matter what that trade looks like. They get young guys back, and I think the Sixers fans do like Tyrese Maxey a lot. Um, and they had a good run with Embiid, not in the playoffs necessarily, but he got an MVP. They competed in the playoffs multiple years. They did what they could. So it's hard to say. I think this trade, if they were to end up trading Joel Embiid, wouldn't be as drastic as I think a lot of people would think. Um, and I don't think management can go wrong. So those are my thoughts on the Sixers. I'd love to hear from Sixers fans. And I said this at the beginning of the video, but if you haven't seen, I've already put 3 videos out. The first one was the Cavs. The second one was the Timberwolves. The third one was the Celtics. Go check those out. I talked about them at least, semi in depth. But I want to hear from actual fans of those teams because they have better perspectives. They watch every single game. They know all the ins and outs. It's what they're locked in on. So that's all I got. So peace.